Welcome to the Heart of Information, the nucleus of narratives.
And the epicenter of news unfold and headlines comes to life.
I am Ray Bono Jr.
And I'm Ara Salgarino, and we're thrilled to be your navigator on this riveting journey through the day's stories.
Good day, Philippines!
Good day, Generals!
And this is CCJ On Point. For the purposes of today, a hostage situation occurs when a person suspected of committing a crime forcibly holds another individual captive using threats of violence. In such cases, law enforcement remains in close communication with both the suspect and the captive. For more information, let's call on Miss Vergara.
Thank you, Ray. There are different motives when it comes in hostage taking. First, concerns about politics, how the government having lapses towards its citizens. Second, getting the attention of government by media coverage suiting to civil discontent to overthrow government. Third, mentally disturbed criminals. Common factors are because of criminals' escape routes, safe passages, and of course, ransom. Fourth, for husband and wife is the child hostage for custody battles. And lastly, another mentally disturbed criminal in order to right what he believes to be wrong. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that. Let's go to our next report. Ara?
On the other hand, let's proceed to the next reporter, Mr. Abel.
Thank you, Ms. Ara. So we have 5 categories of a hostage taker. The first one is the persons in crisis, wherein a person takes their hostages due to the severity of their life situation such as problem and frustration. Number 2, the psychotic hostage takers. Here, the hostage taker is mentally ill or mentally disturbed and not capable of perceiving what they're doing. Third is common criminal. Here, the hostage takers doesn't have any deep reason in committing it, but rather than doing it personally, either for monetary, for transportation, or for escaping purposes. The number 4 is the prisoners. Here, the hostage taker is obviously inside a correctional facilities, and they're doing it due to the irregularities and the poor maintenance of their facilities. And the last one is the political terrorists. Among the 5 categories, this is the most broadest and the widest categories among them all, since it requires not only one hostage takers but a group of people that shares the same ideological beliefs when it comes to politics. Also, its effect and damage is very broad, since it can affect or threaten the national security of a state. So that's all for the 5 categories of a hostage taker. Thank you, Ara. Back to you.
And for our more details, let's hear Ms. Padilla.
There are a lot of mind barriers in dealing with the hostage taker. First, the law enforcer should discover the hostage taker intentions. Second, the needs and the demands of hostage taker must determine. Negotiations means to talk. Stalling and talking may help, and in most cases, the time has been an ally because the more the time elapses, the more the time the hostage taker will have to think about this predicament. And with the little persuasion, the hostage taker may feel downright uncomfortable. Times reduces anxiety for as long as the overacts are committed. The hostage taker can be starved out and sleep will eventually catch up on him. And lastly, the hostage might even take advantage of some lapses and may attempt to escape on their own. Back to you guys.
Now, it's time to check this report. Clifford, go ahead.
Thank you, Ray. Managing hostage situation is a complex and delicate task that involves various activities aimed at ensuring the safety of hostages, resolving the crisis peacefully, and apprehending the perpetrators. Here are the 4 major activities in managing hostage situations. First, planning, which consists of work to be performed to predetermine a course of action. Second, organizing consists of work to be performed in order to arrange and relate work so that it can be accomplished effectively. Third, leading consists of work to be performed in order to stimulate people to take effective action and employ various conflict resolution strategies. Lastly, controlling consists of work to be performed in order to assess and regulate work in progress and which needs to be finished. Throughout these activities, maintaining the safety of hostages is the top priority. The decision-making process involves balancing the need for peaceful resolution with the potential use of force as a last resort. Successful hostage management often requires a coordination effort involving various law enforcement agencies, negotiators, and tactical teams. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that. Let's go to our next report. Ara?
In a hostage barricade situation, hostage takers have entered direct confrontation with authorities, requiring preparedness to deal with them. They are willing to discuss the situation in their interest. Hostage takers do not take their hostage lives, but to coerce authorities into certain behaviors and eventually exchange hostages for something they want. This situation highlights the importance of understanding and managing hostage situations. And for further report, may we hear you, Ms. Mandanas.
Thank you, Ara. Hostages could be simple civilians, government officials or military, or personnel of various stages in life, position, or rank. Hostage takers are not always has the same reason to do the hostage taking. They have different personality. And the two common disorders involved are psychotics and personality disorders. In psychotics, there are two classifications. The paranoid is schizophrenic and psychotic depressive. The next one is the psychotic depressive. They are experiencing an extreme emotion like sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. The personality disorder also has two classifications, antisocial and inadequate personalities. Quick recognition points. If a person's behavior is weird, he is probably a paranoid schizophrenic. If his response is something like, "Go away and leave me alone," he is probably a psychotic depressive. If the demands are fairly realistic, he may be an antisocial personality. If he is totally unrealistic, the person is most likely an inadequate personality. Back to you guys!
Let's move on to the next, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Ray. Tactics for handling hostage situations include the importance of establishing effective communication through problem solving and compromise, stalling for time to reduce stress and allow external negotiations, obtaining information using appropriate questioning techniques, calming hostage takers through modeling, ventilation, and distraction, establishing rapport with captors using persuasion by addressing smaller issues. First, and being aware of the psychological dynamics associated with Stockholm Syndrome. These tactics aim to navigate hostage scenarios by emphasizing communication, stress reduction, and strategic negotiation to ensure a safe resolution. That's all. Back to you.
Now, to the next report. May we hear you, Mr. Aquino?
Thank you, Ray. As we talked earlier about kidnapping and hostage taking, I'm going to report the operational procedures of PNP during the hostage taking situation. In this situation, the first thing to do is to immediately activate the crisis management task group composed of the group commander, the negotiator, the assault team, and the support personnel such as ambulances and fire trucks that will manage events and ensure appropriate actions are carried out. They are instructed to secure and isolate the incident scene, record the witnesses' information, and direct them to the safe zone. During negotiation, it is essential to gain control of the situation by insisting on one-on-one talks. Allow the hostage taker to speak and be open about his feelings in order to reach him. Do not offer the hostage taker anything since what he will ask will be part of the negotiation. Never say no and never dismiss any request from the hostage taker as trivial and unimportant. In the event that the negotiation fails, the assault team will be alerted for deployment. Members of this team shall wear authorized and easily recognizable uniforms during the conduct of operation. It is necessary to plan the assault to ensure minimal treatment for all parties. Take in mind that during this negotiation, the most important thing is the release and safety of the hostage. Back to you, Ray.
Moving on now to another topic. Ray, your turn.
Kidnap or ransom is defined in Article 267 of the RPC as the illegal abduction of a person with the aim of demanding ransom. This criminal act especially worrisome when executed by organized criminal groups, presents a substantial challenge to the country's peace and order. The primary concern lies in the significant repercussion on victims, their families, and society at large. A single proficiently executed kidnapping by these professional criminals can evoke widespread fear and concern among the public. For further report, may you give us, Ms. Padilla?
There are different common modus operandi used by kidnapping or criminal groups engaged in kidnap or ransom activities. First, the kidnap group initially scout a potential victim through an informer or spotter. Second, the informer, scout, or spotter could be a gang member or outsider whose participation is to locate targets for the group. After the victim has been spotted, the kidnap group conducts a thorough study on his background and his daily routine movements or activities. Customary route taken by the would-be victim is particularly observed. After their carefully surveillance and planning, they would kidnap the victim at an opportune time. And lastly, when the victim is with them, they would bring in a pre-designed area. Usually, it's outside urban places where the victim is held in captivity ransom, for his release is being negotiated. Back to you guys!
Let's forward. May you give it a shot, Mr. Mendoza?
Ransom negotiation often involve telephone calls between kidnappers and victim, relatives demanding a ransom in cash. The victim may appeal to their relatives who may cooperate. If the ransom is not met, threats to the victim's life, such as non-disclosure to the police authorities, are relayed. Back to you guys.
Now, let's hear from Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Ara. The primary objectives of the special units of Philippine National Police when dealing with kidnap for ransom cases prioritize the safety of the hostage or victim as the utmost consideration. The key goals include executing rescue operations with the utmost care, minimizing mental anguish for the victim's family and friends, achieving the early liberation of the hostage, ensuring successful cases against suspected kidnappers, preparing for potential similar events, and safeguarding internal peace and order. These objectives highlights a comprehensive approach aimed at resolving kidnap for ransom situations, while prioritizing the well-being of victims and maintaining public safety. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that. May we hear another report from you, Mr. Ingito?
Thank you, Ara. The role of citizen is crucial in the fight against kidnap for ransom. For several reasons, it aids for early detection and reporting, community awareness and vigilance, information gathering, and emergency response. Overall, the involvement of citizens is integral to creating a safer environment and deterring kidnappers. Collaboration between law enforcement and the community enhances the effectiveness of anti-kidnapping efforts and contributes to the overall security and well-being of the society. Back to you guys.
And now, this is your stage of news, Ara.
To prevent kidnapping or abduction, it is crucial to be security conscious in both personal and daily activities. To do this, develop a security system at home and work. Be selective in hiring employees or household help, and report any suspicious loitering near your home or office. Be observant of your car's description, especially the plate number, and remember the faces of the individuals who failed you. Avoid developing a pattern on daily trips and avoid deserted routes. If you are accosted or intercepted on the road for a traffic violation and asked to pull over by questionable people, stop only in a place with policemen or other people around. By following these tips, you can help protect yourself and your family from potential kidnappings or abductions.
For our last report, make it more blast, Ms. Vergara.
Best things to do when you receive a kidnap notice or call. To begin with, if you receive a kidnap note, be calm and do not panic. Make sure to write a record of the delivery person's description. Second, take note of the other circumstances of the delivery, such as time and manner. And lastly, preserve the note for submission to the police. And during the call, the first thing to do is try to signal someone else to listen via an extension. Second, keep the caller on the line for as long as possible. Third, do not antagonize the kidnappers. Fourth, give the kidnappers a code word for any identification. And also, ask for the victim's name, where and when they were captured, and the victim's code name. After the call, first and foremost, make a written record of the caller's age and gender, its mental condition in your own evaluation, speech characteristics such as lips and accent, and the exact words it stated. And last but not the least, take notice of the surrounding noises and the audibility of telephone reception, as these may show where the kidnappers are calling from. Back to you guys.
And that wraps our journey through this chapter of news.
Remember, the news doesn't sleep, and neither do we. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay uniquely you.
This is Ray Bondo Jr.
And this is Ara Salgarino,
signing off.
Go out there and make your own headlines.
And again,
This is CCJ On Point.